We'll pretend you are anyway.
Okay, whoops, 1 second. Went dark. Okay,
When you're ready.
As I began reading my research stimulus packets, I realized that the packets were mostly about communication. So I began doing research about communication, and that's when I stumbled upon this quote. When a language dies, a way of understanding the world dies with it, a way of looking at the world. When I came across this quote, I realized that it was about George Steiner, and that's when I found out that he studied mostly about lost languages, which brought me to this question. How has human communication been impacted by lost languages? George Steiner is an American literary critic, essayist, philosopher, novelist, and educator. He has studied greatly about the relationships between languages, literature in society, and the impact of the Holocaust. George Steiner has been studying languages for over 20 years, writing essays and papers about his research. Within his works, he talks greatly about the impact of lost languages and how important it is to preserve languages. He has found that when a language is lost, many things die with it, some of which can include knowledge, culture, and above all, communication. With this being said, Mr. George Steiner can be considered a linguist. What is a linguist, you may ask yourself? According to vocabulary.com, a linguist studies every aspect of language, including grammar, punctuation, vocabulary, and the sound of language, and how words evolve over time. In other words, a linguist studies linguistics, which is the study of language or languages. These linguists study for many years trying to figure out, well, what the impacts of when a language dies is. Mr. George Steiner began to wonder where all the many languages come from, just like many other languages. Like I've seen here, the questions are, is a single language better than the many? Why the many rather than one? He researched many things but couldn't find anything to help him out but this to answer his questions until he came across the Holy Bible. Within the Holy Bible, there's a story that explains where all the languages derive from. Within the Bible, there's a place called Babylon. At the time, the population of Mesopotamia, Babylon, wanted to get closer to God. So the town had the idea to build a tower to get closer to God. However, the town did not plan on using communication, so that's when God stepped in and ruined the town's plans. God made everyone speak a different language, which caused confusion within the town. So the town could not build a tower to reach God. The people that spoke the same language stuck together and spread across the globe, making and growing their own society. These groups of people also began to create their own culture and way of doing things, eventually growing big enough to form a nation. This part of the Holy Bible is believed to have caused there to be many languages. There's a painting by Calafrida that is known as self-portrait along the borderline between Mexico and the United States. This image expresses how language and culture can affect a country as a whole. As you can see, Mexico is depicted to the left and the United States is depicted to the right. On the side of Mexico, it appears as though Mexico is living in destitute. The buildings and the temples seem to be run down and old. However, you may also notice the other objects may seem to have some meaning to Mexico's culture. Having seen the image, I believe it is correct to say that Mexico is still holding on to its roots and heritage. Mexico has not let go of its native language and culture. On the right side of the painting, the United States is seen. It has great buildings and electricity, but no object that has special meaning to its culture or language. The United States has left behind its culture and roots to become a great nation with great advancements, thus leading me to the conclusion that the modernization of a place or country can cause a part of a language or culture to be lost. There is an article entitled Vanishing Voices by Russ Reimer and Lynn Johnson. This article is mostly about the issue of lost languages and the importance of preserving languages. It also discusses some factors that can cause a language to be lost. They suggest that anything from TVs to being bilingual can cause a language to be lost, as well as other world influences such as radio stations. Being bilingual isn't a negative thing, it is a good thing, but linguists believe that being bilingual can cause or increase language loss, since when one is bilingual, they might begin replacing some words with words from another language from the dominant language, gradually replacing the whole entire native language with the dominant language. Within the article, there are 3 questions that expresses the author's concerns with the lost languages, which are the following. Does each language have boxed up within it some important, irreplaceable, beneficial knowledge? Are there aspects of culture that would not survive if they are translated into a dominant language? And last but not least, what unexpected insights are being lost to the world with the collapse of the language? These are just some of the many questions that linguists are befuddled about. They wonder how many things can be lost when a language dies with it. Many things can be lost when a language dies, some of which can include your traditions, foods, knowledge, our lifestyle, and habits. Another thing that can be lost is your identity. Your culture shapes who and how you identify yourself. The problem of losing languages every day is gradually growing, but there are some things that can be done to help reduce the loss of languages. One thing that can be done is set up institutions and schools that help to preserve languages. We can establish nurturing schools that are staffed and conducted with elders that have plenty of knowledge and lost languages and language to help teach about languages and the importance of preserving one's native language. We can also offer foreign language classes at schools and online. Another thing that can be done is create conferences, workshops, and publications that help to support learning languages and that also help to preserve languages. However, there are some problems that arise from the proposed solutions, which are that not everyone's going to want to help and put their part into helping out the schools. Some people may not want to donate money to said institutions and schools or put their part into these facilities. Another thing is that the government may not want to help out and support these institutions. But even if the government decides to fund and help out the schools and institutions, it will not be enough to slow down the process of many languages dying out. Another problem is that not everyone has access to online schools or foreign language classes simply because they do not have the money to do it. Even if all institutions and schools are put into place, it will never be enough to help put an end to the dying out of languages. Simply because these languages are dying out because they are spoken by a minority group.
Okay. How valid and reliable are the sources that you used? How do you know, and which sources didn't work?
All the sources that I used are valid because I used sources that were like from EBSCOhost, which has peer-reviewed essays, and they're also from linguist people that have been studying languages for over years. And there was a source I didn't use because that was from Encyclopedia Britannica, which is not a reliable source since it can be edited by many people.
If you had more time, what additional research would you conduct that was related to your issue?
I would research about how many times a day are their languages dying out, or a year how many languages die out.
All right. Thank you very much.